Hey, it's us. It must be Friday. TGIF, everybody. Welcome back to school. The college show that you don't want to miss every single week. I'm your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwiners.com.
I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwiners.com.
And together we do this one time every week. Put our heads together and we come up with our favorite 3 college plays for each of us. Plus, of course, the patented, the always appreciated, except for the last 3 weeks, Bet the Farm.
Yeah, we don't talk about those.
Woo! Woo!
Tale of two halves last week, though. I mean, we were on great pace in the first half. Just the game died on us.
Yep. Should have played that first half over.
Yep.
That was a brutal week. You broke through with the win to go 1-2 while I wore the platinum sombrero for the 3rd time in a row. One of us has worn the sombrero. And you'll notice, Scott, that I didn't do too much happy dancing or celebrating the 2 weeks prior when you went 0-3 because, we all know, a fumble here, a bad break there, and there, but for the grace of the football gods go I. So, and I went there last week. Quick recap of the picks. A lot of red on the sheet, Scott. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yep.
I had California team total over 31.5. I don't know how many games they'd have to play to get over 31.5. That was just fucking ridiculous.
They lost outright in that game.
Yeah, lost in overtime to Colorado. So, and you know my theory, Scott. If you're not going to cover, if you're not going to go over your team total, fuck you. I hope you lose. So they did. Congratulations. I also had UNC -7 over Duke. UNC did get the win, did not get the cover. And I had
they got the win. They just didn't cover.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said they did not get the win.
I said they got the win, but they didn't.
My bad. I thought you said they did not. Sorry. Okay.
We're going to be here a while if you're just going to reiterate everything I say.
Yeah, it works.
UAB.
I barely see you as it is anyway. This is the chance we have to, catch up.
I know, right? And that's sometimes what takes us the longest to get to the show is we just spend half an hour shooting the shit.
Yep.
Before the show. So I also had UAB Charlotte over 63.5. Again, the Charlotte defense decided to show up. I know UAB is, not exactly your offensive stalwart, and we needed them to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and they did none of it. So that's how you go 0-3. Scott, how'd you do?
I went 1-2. Ended up losing with Wisconsin -7 and -115. They were up 7 at the half, and then the second half came around, and the offense just completely fell apart. They lost outright there in double overtime, I believe, to Michigan State. I had Utah State -11 and -110. Unfortunately for me, it's the second straight week. The late game involved the starting quarterback of the team I bet on getting hurt. And Lagas got a concussion in the first quarter. It was a battle of 4th-string quarterbacks over there between Colorado State and Utah State. The defense did their part. Unfortunately, Lagas got hurt, and that was kind of the story of the bet. But I did win with Clemson, -3.5 at -109, taking on Florida State. I didn't understand the line at all. Clemson blew the game open. Then they almost blew the game, but they held on, and I believe they won by 6, I think.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a play, for the record, that both of us liked. I took it on my actual sheet and also did it for the Michael Clark show in Colorado, and you and I. In fact, we had a conflict. We both did the same game. I had to do a new pick, but we
could have doubled down on it.
Kind of both on that Clemson pick. I wish I'd have just taken it last week, but anyway, that puts our overall record. Well, if he goes 1-2, I go 0-3. Overall record, he is 10-11. I am 13-8. Still, is that right? How can I thought I had a 3-game lead. How is that right? Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought that I didn't think that was right. I'm 12-9, sir. 12-9. So you have
I'm 2 back. I'm hanging in there.
2 back. Oh, you're fine.
I'm not used to being below 500 on the show, so I got to pick it up.
Yeah, we've done really well on this show, and not to brag, but if you've watched the show, you know that we've both been in the high 50s. I think we both hit maybe 60 the first year.
I have my results from last year. I was 26-15.
There you go.
So
yeah, outstanding work. So on we go. And I know a lot of you guys have asked about Chris's show, and I forgot to respond on my personal videos, and I'm assuming you have too, Scott. But Chris has been pulled for what appears to be temporarily right now. They're retooling the show, and they just weren't getting the views that they wanted as far as the current format. So they're trying to figure out what to do with the big brain of his, because it's a shame. I don't know, man. He's got a lot of knowledge. He does. He puts in the work, man. He really does. I cannot say enough good things about King and his work ethic. So
it would take me an hour to construct a 7-pick parlay, let alone to actually have the research behind it.
yeah. That's just when you look at the sheer amount of picks he's doing, where he's doing the 10, a 4,
2 separate 2s,
2 2s, and a 3, right?
I don't know about the 3, but
no,
I think it was 2 2s, a 4, and like a 10 or whatever. Like it was crazy.
That's 18. That's 18.
It's a lot of picks every day.
Insane. And to have a winning record, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, thanks for all the inquiries about Chris's show. It's probably going to be back sooner rather than later in some format, and that's the best little ambiguous answer I can give right now. So that being said, Scott, what do you have? Do you have anything to say?
I actually do. I don't feel great about it because I only went 1 and 2, but technically losers walk.
There you go, buddy. Let's take a look in the Rocky Mountains, shall we? And this is truly a game only gamblers could love. If you look at ESPN Power Rankings, there's only 4 schools that are ranked worse than Hawaii and Colorado State. They're ranked absolutely right next to each other. Scott, for bonus credit, can you give me how many are those 4 schools? Can you give me?
Okay, so New Mexico State.
That's 1.
FIU.
That's 2.
UMass.
That is 3.
This is for all the marbles right here.
This is it, buddy. This is it.
See, I would have normally guessed Colorado, but they won a game, so I got to think if it's actually Colorado. You know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. Give me Colorado.
No.
Damn it.
I'm trying to find it here. Because those are the 3 I remembered.
Those are the 3 givens you can guess every year.
Yeah.
Texas State, maybe?
No,
because they actually won a couple games. They beat App State.
Yep.
I don't know how the hell they beat App State, but they beat App State.
And you're gonna hate yourself because it's really obvious.
It's not Vandy.
No. Getting there. Oh, perennial appearance.
Akron?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. So those are the 4.
I wasn't sure because Akron could actually score a little bit this year, so I wasn't sure if they'd be in the bottom 4. But okay, fair enough.
Yep, that's it. So why would you bet on a game that involves those 2 teams? Well, simply because we like money, and we're not
betting on them to both be bad.
We're betting on them to both be bad, and that's exactly what I anticipate here. Colorado State averages just 12.8 points per game. The next time they get to 20, Scott, how many times will that be?
I believe, is it 1 or 2?
1.
Yeah.
It'll be their first. They have not made it to 20 so far this season. Colorado State, well, they are consistent. They're 124th in rush yards per game, 117th in pass yards per game. Meanwhile,
they've also used about 17 quarterbacks. They've had a bunch of injuries to the quarterback position.
They have. They brought the kid in now, the freshman that can throw. It didn't work out any better. So Hawaii, well, they are practically an offensive juggernaut under Timmy Chang. How do you think Timmy Chang feels watching a team that puts up like 13 points a game?
I think he's just happy they won a couple games.
That was a bad quarter for him when he was running.
Did they dump the Gatorade on him when they won against Nevada last week?
I don't think so, man. But they go for 18 per contest. That's 112th in the country. Hawaii defense has actually been not terrible lately. Over the last month, they've given up 16 or less in 3 of their last 4. Colorado State, Scott, they're the only team in FBS to see the under hit in every game. A perfect 6-0. Hard to figure out where the offense is going to come from this one. I got to play under 46.5.
I like the under as well. The only 2 touchdowns they had in a game 2 weeks ago, or I forgot because they might have had a bye, but they ended up, I think it was a Nevada game. They had 2 pick sixes.
It wasn't a Nevada game because I had Nevada in that game.
Yeah, yes. So they didn't do anything in that game. The defense scored all the points. But I lost last week fading Colorado State, but that was because the quarterback that was starting got hurt. Colorado State still didn't move the ball that much. Utah State's not a great defense, but they couldn't really do much in that game. Nope. Yeah, I like it. I think that one of these offenses, if they're truly awful, they'll drag down the entire total, or both of them could be bad together.
Absolutely.
So, I like it. So I'm going to stick with the same conference. I'm going to go to the Mountain West, and I'm going to take a side here. It's going to be Boise State, plus the 2.5 at -110 on Fox Bet. First glance, it looks a little bit dicey. Traveling to Air Force, never a fun time. However, the line is kind of all over the place for this game. The line opened up at Boise plus 4.5. DraftKings had +1, but I found plus 2.5 at -110. If you want to give me a free 1.5, thank you. I'll gladly take it every time. But to go through Boise's season, it's a pretty interesting one because Bachmeier was awful. Then he decided, or they threw him out of town. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but either way, they switched quarterbacks. They put Green behind center, and they've actually been pretty good to go through the numbers since Green took over. Boise's been a very run-heavy offense, and it's worked out. It's averaged 37.5 points per game in its last 2 games. Beat Fresno handily, scored 40 points. Beat San Diego State, scored, I believe, 30. They scored 30 and change in that game. But we saw Fresno defensively. They held San Jose State to 10 points, so I guess they're not a terrible defensive team. And Boise ran it down their throats. And I think if you want to look at the schedule spot, Boise's off a bye. And Air Force had to play UNLV. It's always difficult to stop triple options, but it's especially helpful when you have an extra week of prep. And I do think that's definitely going to play a factor in this matchup. And since Boise loves to run the ball this much with the new quarterback, it is worth mentioning that Air Force's second leading tackler, linebacker Alex Mock, injured his hand last week, and he's currently questionable. So in a game where both teams want to run the ball and one team's missing its second leading tackler and the other team's off a bye, I do think Boise has value here and a good shot to win the game. Boise's offensive numbers are really skewed because of what Bachmeier did for about the first 4 weeks of the season. They're an underrated unit. They have Halani. They have Gentry, who are 2 really good running backs, and I do think them with Green, it's a nice little 3-headed monster there. Give me Boise State plus the 2.5.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think Mock is probably their best defensive player, despite the fact he's just second tackles. But
he's out. That's a huge deal for Air Force.
Yeah, it really is. And this is we always talk about matchups and what you have to look at. And obviously, when you're playing Air Force, you have to look at the team that they're competing against, and you have to look at their rush defense. And that Boise State rush defense has been very good this season. They've given up just 2.9 yards per carry. I do think the extra week of prep makes a difference, although it's always a challenge to find the scout squad that can run triple options successfully in practice. But I do think the extra week does make a difference. I don't hate that play. I'm probably not going to be in the business of fading Air Force at home.
I thought about the under. I was kind of torn between either Boise or the under, but we'll see.
Yeah. If I was going to play it, I think that's the way I'd go. But speaking of underwhelming plays, I'm going to. Wow, I didn't even realize it. We've gone Mountain West heavy here for our first.
Yes, we have.
For our first.
This is actually the last Mountain West pick, though, so we will pivot. I can guarantee it.
All right, I hold in my hand the last Mountain West play. This is going to be San Diego State, Nevada. It's an absolutely ridiculous total of 36, and I don't think that they get there. Neither team has scored more than 20 points versus FBS foes since September, and San Diego State has never done it. Nevada started off with a couple of decent appearances. One of them was against Texas.
They killed Texas State in the first game and scored 40.
Yep. The Aztecs, that offense it's traditionally not good. It's a defensive-minded squad, but this year they are particularly bad. Recently they seem to be getting worse. They put up 17 on Toledo. You and I talked about that defense before the show. 82nd in the nation in points allowed is Toledo. Put up 16 on Hawaii.
Game-winning field goal, by the way. They had 13 until the buzzer.
Yep. Hawaii 126th in the country in points allowed. Nevada, they are 46th in the points allowed. I think that they'll do plenty to stop this San Diego State team. Scott, we've already talked about how terrible this Nevada offense is, and they are not good. It's under 36. I'm not afraid of that number a bit. Give me the total under.
I don't know if the historical trend's on me, but I know that totals in the mid-30s are very good to the under in college football. I don't have the numbers in front of me, though.
They're low for a reason.
Yep. Moving on to my pick, I'm going to an independent. And, of course, it's going to look scary because isn't this the team that lost to Stanford last week? You better believe it. I'm going to take Notre Dame first half -14 at -122. First of all, I love the line here. The full game line has moved from 24.5 to 27. DraftKings has the first half spread at 16. So if you want to give me 2 points for about 12 cents, I'll gladly take that because 14 is a pretty key number in the first half. But the reason why so much money's coming on Notre Dame is because UNLV, after a very fun start to the season, has completely fallen off a cliff, mostly because of injuries. UNLV has lost each of its last 2 games by at least 33 points. It trailed by 21 points at the half to Air Force and trailed by 23 points at the half against San Jose State. The main reason why the team fell apart, injuries, because UNLV has been without its starting quarterback for basically the last 2 games. I believe their starting quarterback attempted 1 pass 2 weeks ago against San Jose State, and then he got hurt. I think he only attempted 1 pass in the entire game, and then he got injured. But you're looking at the replacement, and Friel, I believe that's how you pronounce it. He's mediocre, not great. Brumfield, though, was actually playing really well. And Robbins, their leading running back by a wide margin, got hurt last week, and he's probably not going to play. He has 4.7 yards per carry, 8 rushing touchdowns, 591 yards. And Brumfield, in addition to the 8 touchdown passes, has 5 rushing touchdowns. So they got hurt, and the offense completely fell apart. We know Notre Dame athletically should have the advantage at basically every position, but UNLV missing its 2 best offensive players and losing by 33-plus points in each of the last 2 weeks against Air Force and San Jose State. I think they get buried here. Notre Dame is in danger of missing a bowl game. They're 3-3. They could actually use this win. I don't think you can actually look ahead when you lose to Stanford at home the previous week. I think Notre Dame shows up and smacks them. It's mostly the line differential for me. The fact that I could find a 14 in the first half while one book has 16 is a bargain and a half. I'm going to take that. But Notre Dame should be able to move the ball however the hell they want, and I'm expecting them to be up probably like 24-0 at the half, something like that. So give me give me Notre Dame first half minus 14.
Yeah, this is all about.
I recognize Notre Dame's a psycho team, and everyone hates them as they should, but I like the spot.
Well, I don't like their ability to compete against bad teams. We saw it last week against Stanford, and that is
and Marshall.
It's kind of and Marshall. That's kind of a Notre Dame tradition, is playing down to the level of their competition. So it's really all about the injuries. But if they are able to field their starting quarterback and their starting running back, I wouldn't get within 10 feet of it. But I wish you luck, buddy. I really do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I'll tell you, for the record, I like the first half better than the full game.
That's why I didn't take the full game.
For what it's worth. So, all right, very good. I'm going to finish up in the American Conference. God bless the American Conference, Scott. It's going to be UCF traveling to take on East Carolina. I'm going to take the Knights to cover. This is a sneaky good UCF team here. And we talk a lot about the defense about the offense, and rightly so. But this has been a very good scoring defense, giving up just 14.3 points per game. And the Knights, they have been on a little bit of a tear lately. They've won their last 4 by an average of 30.5 points per game. None of those games have been closer than 17 points.
What did they beat Temple by? 70?
70-13, I believe, was the final score there.
I think they scored about 60 unanswered points.
Yeah, because I had them in that game, and I was sweating it early. I'm like, I think Temple even scored first. They might have been down.
They scored on like the first 2 drives, and I think UCF actually scored like 53 unanswered or like 63 unanswered. It was disgusting.
I think it's 63 unanswered. I think it was 13-7, and they went on the run. So, and you know about their rushing. They're able to run the ball really, really well. But last 2 weeks, the rushing game's been kind of slowed down a little bit, not stopped. So they just went out and threw for 433 and 324. They have the capability of moving the ball either way. And I liked this East Carolina team to start the season, Scott. I thought they were fun to watch. They might have something, but I've not been impressed with the way that they've played lately. They did get a nice win against Memphis last week. However,
wasn't easy. Took what, 3 overtimes?
Yeah, 3 overtimes there. They've got a loss to Navy on the books, and they've got a 15-point loss to Tulane. I think this is a real standard middle of the pack, low bowl game, perhaps type of team. UCF, I think they're a little better than that. I think they go on the road and take care of business. Give me the Knights -5.
Yeah, UCF probably wins 8 or 9 games, ends up in the Gasparilla?
Something like that, yeah.
Probably. So, yeah, I don't mind that. But to go through my last play, going to be the Sun Belt Fun Belt, and I'm going to take a team total. I went for the full assortment of picks. I got a full game spread, a first half, and now a team total. Unfortunately, we didn't do 4. I would have done a quarter play, but we don't have that. So looking at Arkansas State, I'm going to go with their team total under 22.5 at -110 on DraftKings as they take on the Région Cajuns. Lafayette, not great offensively. However, defensively, actually very good. Louisiana is allowing just 21.6 points per game against FBS competition, which ranks tied for 24th in the nation. Louisiana's also allowed less than 22 points in 5 of its first 6 games. And most importantly, I love the fact that Louisiana has extra time to prep. They smacked Marshall, allowed 13 points. That was a Thursday game, so they have extra time to prepare for Arkansas State. The wind is also going to be present. You're going to have about 10-mile-per-hour winds with 20-mile-per-hour gusts, which could potentially impact Arkansas State's passing game. But the main reason why I do like this play, it's about Arkansas State's offensive line and how it might be the worst unit in all of the FBS, because Arkansas State is allowing the most tackles for loss in the entire country, and Arkansas State is allowing an impressive 3.8 sacks per game, which is currently tied for 7th most in the nation. Arkansas State allowed 4 sacks to Southern Miss, 6 sacks against James Madison, and scored less than 21 points in each of those games. But Louisiana has a very good pass rush. Louisiana is averaging 3 sacks a game against FBS competition, which ranks tied for 10th in the nation. In other words, Louisiana should be feasting on the defensive line. They might get 6 sacks, something like that. But Arkansas State, with wind as well, I don't think it's going to move the ball. We know Louisiana likes to run it, especially with the backup quarterback, because Fields got hurt and they're using Woolridge, the Fresno State transfer, who's been okay. But they want to run the ball. They'll drain clock. I'll dare Arkansas State's offensive line to hold up against probably the best defensive line in the Sun Belt on the road in the Cajun Dome. Give me the team total under 22.5 for Arkansas State.
I think that's solid. This is a team that hasn't scored more than 20 points their last 2 games. Faced 2 pretty good defenses, and one really good one and one decent one. And James Madison.
4+ sacks in each of those games, though. They cannot block to save their damn lives.
Fun fact about Arkansas State: best team in the country against the spread.
Okay. That's why I didn't take the spread.
Yeah.
Because Louisiana can't score. So just give me a low-scoring defensive game in the wind.
Every time you can write up Arkansas State and you can hit 50 bullet points like you just read off about how shitty this team is. And there's so many things they do poorly. And at the end of the day, all they do is cover.
Oh, they go win the game. If they win the game 20-13, I wouldn't be shocked, but I'll take it.
Now, just to reiterate, did you say this was in a dome?
I might have said the Cajun Dome. I might have accidentally misspoke there.
Okay, because then you mentioned the weather. I wanted to make sure which it was. So I
believe it's outdoors. I might have just missed. I thought that's what they just call it. I might have misspoke.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't remember Louisiana playing inside, but I think you're correct.
Sorry, I'm pulling up the name of the state. I might have just mixed their name up with the UTSA arena. It's Cajun Field, not Dome. Sorry, it is outdoors.
Okay, fair.
The Dome's the UT, whatever. Okay, they're playing outdoors and there's wind. That's all that matters.
I just want to make sure because you said
no. It's good. I'm happy you called me out because I said Dome and I mentioned the wind. But yes, it is outdoors.
I really wasn't even trying to. I wasn't even trying to call you out. I was just trying to get a little clarification.
But I appreciate it because I misspoke there. It is a field, not a dome.
We're here to help. It's better to answer my comment than 5 of them in the comments section.
Yep.
So. That's true. And that is the word of the day, by the way, kids. The word of the day is WIND, wind. If you are playing a game, let's say
Big 12 country.
I was going to say, yeah, that's pretty good. If you're playing a game in Big 12 country outdoors, don't play an over and check the wind because it's coming right out of the south. So it's a good time to remember to check your stadium orientation, and you'll know how it's going to affect the kicking game. If it's a headwind, tailwind, that can be overcome. If it's a crosswind, nobody kicking a field goal in 40-mile-an-hour crosswind, Scott. Just not happening.
Your team's involved in one of those, or one of your teams, because Kansas State's playing TCU,
right?
And you have Oklahoma State taking on Texas, and people are going to blindly look at that Texas game especially and go, Oklahoma State's defense over. What are you kidding me? TCU threw the ball around the parking lot against this team, but then you realize the total's dropped about 5 points, and you're wondering who's injured. Is Robinson out? Is Worthy out? You see the injury report's fine. Check the weather because there's going to be like 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts in a lot of these games, including the Baylor game against Kansas. So keep in mind the wind, because there's a lot of it going on, especially in the
Texas,
Big 12.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's a situation where you then have to determine which team will be impacted the least.
Mm-hmm.
What team throws the ball, what team, and as you and I talked about before the show, again, you have to determine what kind of passing offense do they run. Do they run a run and shoot? Do they run a more vertical? Do they run a more vertical type of passing game with your 8 route, 9 route, 11 route on your passing tree there? So you have to look at what kind of offense they run, see how they're going to be affected, and always look at the defense against the run, because both of those offenses are going to be more run heavy just by the circumstances. So anyway, that's the word of the day. The word of the day is win. All right, buddy. So we tried something last week. We said we were not going to wear hats until we won, and we did not win. But we have decided to change it up just because we have that kind of flexibility here. We're not bound by any man's rules. So
we're just trying to do anything we can to snap a streak. We're sitting on random couches. We're wearing a certain pair of socks. We're really doing whatever it takes.
I'm about to put a pair of headphones on the dog and let him make.
I'm about to buy a rabbit's foot, maybe a 4-leaf clover.
All right, and it really is a shame because, like I said, we've done well. People have come to count on us. We get a lot of praise in the comment sections, and we always appreciate the nice comments, of course. And then we feel extra bad when we let you down, because this is it. This is what we do, man. So, Okay. I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. It is time once again for everybody's hopefully still favorite segment. It's time. It's Friday. Put on those nice Sunday go to meeting overalls. Get your straw hat out. Just adjust it rakishly. You can tell the world to fuck off. I'm ready to win. Climb aboard your John Deere. Get those keys out. The one with the lucky rabbit's foot on the keychain. Put them in the ignition and fire that bad boy up, because, kids, once again, you know it, you love it. It is time to bet the farm. There it is. Look at Scott's got his hat. Yep. Afternoon, ma'am.
Howdy.
See you down to the general store. All right, Scott. Well, we did have a farm play last week, and as you may have ascertained if you heard us earlier in the show, it probably didn't do well. But let's make it official, Scott. What do we have last week for a farm?
We had the over in the Ohio and Western Michigan game. Both teams awful defensively. It looked like in the first half. And then I believe both teams combined for 7 points in the second half after 30 and change in the first half. The pace was great. And then everything absolutely died after that. I don't know why, but MAC overs, I know you won with an Ohio Akron over earlier. For some reason, the MAC overs have just killed me this year. I don't know why.
I've not been your friend. I picked the right spot to jump in Ohio and then jump back out. But yeah, I loved that play last week, and it just wasn't there for us. So
the live total was definitely like 10 points higher. You could have live hedged that. It was definitely a live total higher than whatever the hell we gave out.
Oh, no shit.
Like a decent margin. Like, yeah.
No question about that. So, in keeping with the trend of the day, Scott, we're going to play an under. What do we got cooked up?
So we're going to go with Mississippi State and Bama under 61.5 at -110 on Bet Online. First of all, we know with the air raid system, if you're going to stop it, you kind of have to stop the pass. Luckily, Bama does. I know Tennessee kind of torched them last week, but Tennessee's got elite athletes. They're a top 3 team in the country right now. Mississippi State, not so much. Alabama's allowing just 197.6 passing yards per game against FBS competition, which ranks 22nd. Plus, in the head-to-head, whether Leach was there, whether previous coaches were there, hasn't mattered. They can't score. Mississippi State has scored less than 10 points in 9 of the last 11 meetings. So we're not sure if they're going to even get to 17 in this game. Bama's a great offense. We're just not going to expect them to score 50 and change to send this game over the total, if you know what I mean. But Mississippi State has actually been a pretty good defensive team. The Bulldogs have allowed less than 25 points in 6 of their first 7 games. Now, I know they have not played a team like Bama yet. We get it. But we think they can hold this Bama team to maybe 40, and we'll take our chances there with Bama's defense holding Mississippi State to less than 22. So I like the Mississippi State defense to at least contain Bama once the game gets slightly out of hand. And the big historical trend.
Give me the best trend you're going to see all week anywhere.
So these teams have played each other a lot. And this number of 61.5 is a little bit large, historically speaking, because each of the last 28 meetings have had less than 59 points. And that includes the meetings once Leach was already there. They've gone under anyway. I see a classic type of game where Bama opens up a big lead, stops caring. They probably win by 30. But I think Mississippi State's going to struggle to move the ball. And to back up this historical trend, the under is 17-4-1 in the last 22 meetings. But when 28 straight go under 59, and you give me a total of 61.5, money's coming on the under, by the way. I believe it opened up at 64. It's down to like 60.5 in most spots. I'll back the line movement here. Give me the under. I'll dare Mike Leach's offense to find a way to solve Saban's defense because he really has never been able to in his entire career.
So the last time they scored 59 points, Bill Clinton had not gotten a blow job yet.
Allegedly.
So, yeah, that's been a minute. That has been an absolute minute.
I can pull it up, but it's been, I want to say, like 30 years.
Okay, very good.
Give or take.
All right. That's a solid play right there. I like that. And it kind of, on the surface, seems a bit counterintuitive.
Yeah, because Bama's defense was awful last week, but I just think Tennessee's nuts offensively.
Yeah, they're the real deal. Mississippi State, not quite there yet. So that's going to do it for the farm. That's going to do it for the show. As always, we thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate it. We have vowed to get better. I think it really bothered both of us our last few weeks. So
I was happy I won a game. That's how bad it got.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, baby steps, Bob. All right, well, let's get back let's get you back to 2-1 this week. I'll take the 3-0. All will be right with the world. We'll win the farm, and everybody will love us again, Scott.
Sounds good to me.
All right, you guys take care. Have a great week. Good luck on all of your plays, of course. And yeah, don't forget to check out Scott and I. We do our individual videos every single day as we lay out our favorite plays, absolutely free. All we ask is that you hit that like button, like we do for this one as well. If you haven't subscribed yet to Winners and Whiners YouTube channel, check that out. And of course, it's Friday, so I have to tell you about the episode that dropped yesterday. Got a brand new episode of Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas. Rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world, featuring not just me, but also this guy right here. He's on this week with the elusive Chris King is also there. So check that out as well. So you guys take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time as Scott and I will do our best to head back to school. All right. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.